सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So in these present shlokas which we are seeing, Bhagwan Krishna is giving Arjuna Atma Anatma Viveka so that he gets out of this grip of shoka he is in and he can fight this dharma yuddha which he has to as a Kshatriya so that he can restore dharma in the society. This game of life of ours is lived as per certain rules. This is played as per some rules, you know. Just like every game is played as per its own rules, the game of life also has a rule, and the only rule is dharma. Righteous living is the rule of life, because dharmo rakshiti rakshitaha. When you do raksha of dharma by living it, dharma in turn is going to do your raksha by giving you peace and tranquility of the mind. Also, yato dharma tatho sukha. As much dharma you will do, that much sukha you are going to get. By living an adharmic life, one can accumulate a lot of things outside, but you cannot get peace of mind. And without peace of mind, whatever that person has accumulated, he's not going to be able to enjoy it, you know. So this is the instrument with which we enjoy this life, we live this life, and then this only has been made defective. So we have to live our life courageously, righteously, fighting adharma and standing up for dharma. We should not just turn a blind eye conveniently, you know, for adharma, for our own petty gains. This is done very, very often by people. Oh, this everybody does, no, so I am also going to do it. No, we should not turn a blind eye there. Just like that blind king Dhritarashtra and his wife who blindfolded herself by choice, this is what they did. They were blinded by their attachment to their children, and they supported them in all their adharmic acts. Duryodhana was driven by this burning desire for money and power, not worrying how he gets it, and his dear blind parents were supporting him in that. So every act of dharma is always committed by an ego which is small and petty. In fact, for every crime, there behind that crime is an ego which has got fear, insecurity and greed inside. That person thinks that this insecurity and fear which he has inside, he'll be able to remove by aggrandizing things outside. More and more you collect outside, you know. This fool doesn't know, Moodaha, that this way this insecurity which is inside is not going to go away. In fact, the insecurity is going to only increase, because now you have collected so much outside that you spend your life worrying about it and managing it. So you're going to become more insecure only, you know. The more discontented and dissatisfied a person is from within, the more he's going to hoard outside. He's going to hold on to things outside. That is a sign that the person has got a problem inside. And the more content and satisfied a person is inside, the more he is able to give up outside. And giving up for him doesn't have any sense of loss, because he has actually grown over the desire for those things. Just like we have grown over the desires for our childhood toys. There's no desire, we have grown over it. So they make a major mistake there, you know, by going on accumulating things outside. So taking oneself to be a jiva is a fundamental error of life. This error is that apple which Adam and Eve ate in Christianity. And once the fundamental error is done, then throughout our life is full of errors. And a life which is full of error is always going to be in bondage. There can be no freedom. And most of the people don't even know this freedom which the scriptures are talking about. What is this freedom they are talking about? They only know one freedom, 1947 freedom. That's all they know. What is this freedom? So freedom is not a license to do what you want to. Living a life of likes and dislikes, doing what you like and not doing what you don't like. That person, what you should do, if you do not do, that they think it's freedom. That is not freedom. Because that person is controlled by his impulses. He's driven by his impulses. That is why he's not doing what he has to do. So he's not free. Just like freedom in driving, we get only by following driving rules. When everybody follows the driving rules, we can drive freely on the road. If everybody is doing what they want to do, there's going to be chaos and accidents on the road. So freedom in life relative freedom is got by pursuing dharma. Dharma te virati. Dharma is going to take you to vairagya. And with vairagya alone one can get moksha. Yes, of course, this is a very tall order. So that is why Duryodhana himself says in Mahabharata, Janami dharmam na cha me pravrittihi, janami adharmam na cha me nivrittihi, kenapi devena hridi sthitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. Now I know what's dharma, but I am not able to follow it. I know what's adharma, I am not able to refrain from it. There is some force within me which pushes me to act, and I just go along. So Duryodhana is talking about his impulses which are vasana driven. So God's creation is so perfect that whenever we do a self-centric action, that action leaves an imprint in our mind known as vasana. And this vasana impels us to repeat such an act again. And when we repeat that act, again a vasana is left behind. So this becomes a vicious cycle. This is how hardcore criminals are born. They are in the grip of their own impulses. And Duryodhana was one such hardcore criminal. He was an atatai, having done every adharma possible. So now suppose a person has these kind of vasanas, so is he stuck for life with this? No. We can neutralize these vasanas, these bad vasanas, by putting in good vasanas. And good vasanas can only be put by satkarma, by dharma, by living a righteous life. So in this path of life, we have two kinds of obstacles. The outer obstacles of difficult situations, dealing with difficult people, and the inner obstacle of our own impulses which are vasana driven. So it is relatively easy in life to overcome the outer obstacles, but to overcome the inner obstacles is a major challenge. This inside is a problem, So all those ignorant people who commit adharma because of fear, insecurity and greed, they do not know that adharma is not going to do their raksha, because they are going to lose their peace of mind by doing a wrong act. And when the person loses the peace of mind, then gradually he becomes less and less capable of enjoying what he has accumulated. Because this is the mind which I am accumulating, enjoying this world, That is why it is said, do not gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is greater than silver or gold. live a righteous life. What is this? What is this everybody is chasing, you know? So here, Bhishma and Drona, since they were on the side of adharma, Arjuna should not have worried at all about them. Oh, they are my gurus and I hold them in high esteem. No, adharma is adharma. Whoever commits it will have to pay the price. So this Arjuna seems to have forgotten in this moment of crisis, you know. And that is why Bhagwan is telling him why he needs to fight this dharma yuddha to restore dharma in the society from three standpoints: philosophical, moral and worldly. And in these present shlokas, he is talking about the philosophical angle. And he tells Arjuna that everyone's reality is the Atma, which is immortal. And this body, mind, sense complex is anatma, which is in the realm of time, which is going to go anyways. And this life of ours has to be lived by the rule, which is dharma. So you fight this dharma yuddha and restore dharma in the society. He tells him, Yudhyasva Bharata. Arjuna, fight this war. So now further he says, we will be reading shloka number 25. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi. Avyaktaha ayam. This Atma is unmanifest, imperceptible. Achintyo ayam. Atma is inconceivable. Avikaryo ayam. Atma is unchangeable. Uchyate. It is said. Tasmat. Therefore. Evam. In this manner. Viditva. Knowing. Enam. The Atma. Na anushochitumarhasi. You should not be grieving. So in this shloka, Bhagwan is concluding the philosophical teaching, what he's been teaching all about Atma up till now. And he's also concluding the Atma Swarupam teaching. You know, what he's been explaining, all the Swarupas he's talking about, he's concluding in this verse. And now he says, Atma is avyaktaha. Atma is imperceptible. Vyaktaha is that which is manifest, which is an object of perception for us. And avyaktaha is unmanifest, which is not available for our organs of perception. It is indriya agocharaha. Our five indriyas perceive the five sensory properties of the five objects of this world. This is what our indriyas are perceiving. It's perceiving the properties of these five objects. And each indriya has got its own domain. It cannot perceive what the other indriya perceives, like the eyes cannot smell and the nose cannot hear. So it's got its own domain. So now Atma is, we have seen earlier, that it is free from all properties. It is a shabda, a sparsha, a rupa, a rasa, a gandha. No properties for Atma, because these properties belong to matter, anatma, not Atma. Since there are no properties, then the indriyas cannot perceive the Atma. So Atma is imperceptible. So, and this Sat, Chit and Ananda are not the properties of Atma. These are called Lakshanas, which explain us what Atma is by implication. So Atma is Lakshya, and these three, Sat, Chit and Ananda, are Lakshanas, which are telling us what Atma is, because we can't perceive the Atma. Then Bhagavan says, Atma is achintyaha. Now, it's, when we cannot perceive the Atma, how can we ever conceive of it? Think about it. Like every concept in our mind is based on our perceptual experience. We can only think of something which we have seen and which has got registered in our mind. Otherwise, we cannot think of it, So if we try and think of Atma without these 5 properties, Shabd, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, or take these properties out and think of Atma, we'll only come to a blank. So the mind only thinks of an object which has these 5 properties. We can never think of Atma, we think because of Atma. Atma is achintyaha. But achintya doesn't mean that we cannot understand Atma. It just means that Atma is not an object of thought because it is the thinker. It is not an object of thought because it is the subject. It is not the object. So Atma is achintyaha. Then Bhagavan says Atma is avikaryaha. It doesn't undergo any changes. It's not that Atma was happy little while ago and now it becomes sad. What's becoming happy and sad? The mind is becoming happy and sad. That is subject to vikaraha. Atma is avikaraha. The objects of this world are subject to vikaraha. Milk turns into curd because milk is subject to vikaraha. It can change, so it changes. Objects of the world change, the mind changes. Atma doesn't change. So Atma is avyaktaha, Atma is achintyaha, and Atma is avikaryaha. Uchyate. This is said by the Shastras. Bhagavan is telling us all this through Arjuna, which he himself has told in the Shruti, which is the Upanishads. This knowledge is being given in the Shruti by Bhagavan, which he is telling us now. So, Uchyate, Bhagavan is only saying that, Tasmat, therefore, evam, in this manner, viditva, knowing, enam, this Atma. So, knowing these facts about Atma, whatever Bhagavan has been telling us, and all these shlokas which we finished, so many facts Bhagavan has told us about the Atma. So, knowing these facts about Atma, and also knowing that you are the Atma. It's not Atma. That Atma is me. I am the Atma. So, knowing that you are the Atma, Bhagavan says, I am the Atma, Bhishma is the Atma, Drona is the Atma. So, first you know this fact, Viditva, know this fact about the Atma, So, as the Atma, you cannot kill. Bhishma and Drona, as the Atma, they cannot be killed. So, Nanu Shochitu Marhasi, why are you grieving, So, there is no reason to grieve here actually, because actually nothing is dying here. Atma, of course, never dies, it's immortal, so there is no need to cry for Atma. And Anatma is also not dying, it's only changing a form. It goes away in this form and comes back in another form. What we saw last time, changing clothes. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinhati naroparani. It comes back wearing another dress. And you can't stop this change, which an Atma is going to go on and on. It's just going on. This process nobody can change because it's a fact. So fact has to be known, Knowing facts is only knowledge. To be able to assimilate certain facts. Facts, when say this is a fact, means it cannot be changed because it's a fact, So the earlier Bhagavan had said, Gata soon agata sunsya nanu shochanti panditaha. Wise people do not grieve for living or dead. So if one understands this fact, then everybody is wise. This grief is all foolishness, it's ignorance, it's delusion. People don't know certain facts, the facts have not been assimilated, and so everybody goes on grieving over here. Then further Bhagavan says, Ath chainam nitya jatam
nityajatam
nityam va manyase mritam
nityam va manyase mritam
tathapi tvam mahabaho
tathapi tvam mahabaho
naivam shochitum arhasi
naivam shochitum arhasi
atha cha, even if, enam, this atma, nitya, constantly, jatam, is born, nityam, constantly, va, and manyase, you think, mritam, dies, tathapi, even then, tvam, you, mahabaho, mighty armed. Arjuna was such a mighty armed person. Na evam, evam means like this. Na shochitum arhasi, the way you are grieving, you should not be grieving. So here in the shloka, Bhagavan talks hypothetically, telling Arjuna that suppose all that I have told you about Atma up till now, you are not able to accept. Because it is difficult to accept what the Shastra is saying. You know, Shraddha in Shastra and Guru brings the person to this knowledge, and Shraddha alone sustains the person to accept what the Shastra is saying till the self-realization happens. Now, if you tell this to a Nastika, a non-believer, that you are the invisible Atma and this Jagat is mithya, it is unreal, it is the manifestation of invisible Atma by Shakti of Maya, what's he going to tell us? Are you out of your mind? You know, what are you talking? You know? This is what it is. This is how unacceptable this is, you know. Generally what the Shastra is saying goes above everybody's head, you know. This is not acceptable. Then there are so many different philosophies prevalent here which are easier to accept. Like duality. Duality is easier to accept. I am Bhagwan's devotee and Bhagwan is separate from me, and I pray to Bhagwan and Bhagwan is going to fulfill all my wishes. This is very easily acceptable to everyone. But non-duality is the biggest problem, at least in the beginning. It's difficult to accept all this mithya business and all, you are invisible and all that. This is not easy to accept, you know, for everyone. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna that suppose you are not able to accept what I have said up till now, you know. And of course Vedanta cannot be imposed on anyone, because this is not some katha, you know. Vedanta has to be understood. If you, either you understand it or you don't understand it. That's how it is. Vedanta is that. You need to understand what Bhagavan is saying, you know. So if you cannot understand and you think all this while Bhagavan has been telling that Atma is avinashi and the body is vinashi. But if you think manyase, because it has to be my thinking for my understanding. So if you think that you are this body, you are, because Atma means I. The word Atma means I. So I am this is the Atma. I am this body. If you think that, you know. And everybody thinks that actually. And then you say that it is Nityajatam and Nityamritam. It dies and it comes back again. It's born again. It dies and everybody believes that only. We are seeing everybody die, and most of the people believe that they'll be reborn. That is why they're talking about that 7 janmo ka hisab kitab. I want to be your spouse for 7 janma. Why? Because they know you're going to be born. So in this janma, we have with difficulty got adjusted to each other. Now since we are adjusted, might as well let it carry on for another 7 janma. Why adjust with anybody else and, you know, bang your head with somebody else? Everybody believes that down there in the core that we are going to be born. Everyone is wishing for that. Oh, now, you know, want to be your spouse only, you know. So this is a belief which it is there. So Bhagavan is saying, so okay, Vedanta is saying that you are immortal, you do not die, so there is no question of any birth. But if you think that you are going to die and you are going to be born, Tathapi tom mahabaho na shochitum arhasi. Then also you should not be grieving. Why? Because in any case that is going to come back again. No. If it's going, then it's going to come back again in some more. And other thing is that you are mahabaho. You are this strong person, Arjuna. You should not be grieving otherwise also. Even when we see tears in a pahalwan, don't we say that kya hatta katte hai, bacche ke jaisa ro raha hai, you know. This comes naturally. You're not supposed to howl this huge person and he's got tears in his eyes, you know. So tathapi tom mahabhav. For this reason, you should not be grieving. And then why you should not be grieving, Bhagwan will again explain a little more. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyete natvam shochitumarhasi. Jatasya, to that which is born. He dhruvaha. Dhruvam means an eternal fact which can never be changed. Dhruvam. Mrityuhu, death. Dhruvam, it's an eternal fact that janma mritasya cha, there is going to be janma for the person who dies. So this is a fact. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Tasmad, therefore, apariharya ethe, for a situation which cannot be altered. Natvam shochitum arhasi, you should not be grieving. So this is a very important shloka because Bhagwan is giving a very, very practical wisdom here, you know. Now suppose a person does not realize his truth in this janma and of aham brahmasmi and cannot get out of this cycle of birth and death, still the person can live this life fairly well with some common sense, knowing some facts about life. At least live this life properly first, you know, then you think about that goal. But most of the people are not living this life only properly. So with some intelligent living, knowing some facts, assimilation of some facts, this life can be lived fairly happily, you know. But most of the time we see many people around suffering, grieving, committing suicides, going into depression because some facts are not assimilated for them, you know. So Bhagwan says that at least, okay, first, you know, if you take yourself to be this body, first you understand the nature of this body properly. So this body was born at a particular date. Everybody knows that date very well, you know, because everywhere we have to write it, and that birthday, everybody knows that, you know, birthday and its celebrations, you know. So this date everybody knows. So since you know that, then it is common sense to know, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, you were born one day, so one day you have to go. You know, this is a fact which you have to assimilate. We cannot turn this world dark by closing our eyes. It is a fact which has to be known. So if you are going to, but this fact that you are born and you are going to die is also understood by three pramanas. You know, one is pratyaksha pramana. I'm seeing everybody die all the time, you know. Daily newspapers got that obituary column which I'm seeing. You don't know when our picture is going to be there, whether it's going to be there. Anybody's bothered also to put the picture there, you know. That also is a question mark, you know. So it is a pratyaksha pramana that everybody dies. So my body also has to die, and my near and dear one's body also has to die. The other is by anumana pramana, that is, or logic, that whatever dies, whatever is born has to die. And the third is the scriptures are telling us this all the time, that everything which is born is anitya, it is in the realm of time, because it is born out of karma. Whether it is good karma, bad karma, but it is born because of karma. Karma is the oil in the lamp of life. When that oil gets depleted, the flame of life gets extinguished, So we know all this very well when it comes to others. Oh yeah, we are very philosophical. This is life. Whoever is born has to die. But when it comes to us, then suddenly this wisdom vanishes. Everybody is grieving. Even after 20 years in that obituary column, in memory of, they are putting that picture, 20 saal ho gaye abhi tak, So if it's okay if you're putting it without grieving, then that is a different question. But if it's because of grief, you can't get over this fact and you're still hung up there, that shows there is a problem inside, And these other cultures, these people go and sit on the grave and they are crying there. And in their own culture, there are poets who have written, "Do not stand on my grave and weep, I am not there, I do not sleep." It's a poetry. So they are only saying, that means they know that, now I am not there, I do not sleep, means I have gone, and you are sitting there, that's only a skeleton inside and some decomposed matter lying there, and you're sitting and crying, and they occupy space there, and that, that grave, they don't get over it. If here also, I don't know whether it's Hindu or Christian or whatever, many times when you used to go, this whole place is jam-packed because the graveyard, they come and pray there, Yeah, whatever that is. So how many years over? What's lying there inside? No thinking, don't know any facts. Just everybody is doing, oh my father, udhar to hai nahi father, mother, udhar koi nahi hai. Some skeleton line going to turn into fossil after some time, So that means facts are not known, or if they are known, they are not assimilated. So assimilation of the fact is applying the law on my own self. If there is a law, if it has to be assimilated, it has to be applied on me. Otherwise, it is unassimilated wisdom. You don't know, you just talking like that, So jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. But no one wants to die. Chakkar to ye idhar. Everybody wants to live a little more. Even our Puranas are full of stories, especially of these Rakshasas, So they do like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and all. So they do a lot of tapasya, great tapasya they do, And then Bhagwan comes in front of, these are the stories in Puranas. Bhagwan is going to come in front of them and say, yes, what do you want? First thing they will blurt out is, please give me a boon so that I don't die. This don't die only everybody wants. Nobody wants to die. So then Bhagwan says, no, that's not possible. I cannot give that boon, Then they want to get immortality by saying that, okay, I should not die in the morning, I should not die at night, I should not be killed by a human, I should not be killed by an animal, I should not be killed by a weapon. To Bhagwan, he's foxed, and because that person has done so much of tapasya, he says, okay, but he knows all the loopholes, and then he comes as Narsimha Avatara, or Ram Avatara, and finishes that person, So there is no one can escape from death. Birth itself is a guarantee for death, It is, one thing is very sure we have to know is that we are going to die. Even Bhagwan, when he comes as an avatara, he dies. We can just call that death by a different name. Swarga Arohanam, When a sannyasi dies, then we say he's gone into samadhi. It's just a different language, but fact is what? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh. Everyone has to die. And the other side of the coin is dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Whoever is, there is going to be janma for the one who died. He is going to be born again. So the jiva doesn't die. The jiva is an agyani, and our religion says that the jiva never dies. These other religions, their belief is different. Their afterlife is that the person either goes into permanent heaven or he goes into permanent hell. That's their belief, But Hinduism says what? There is no end for a jiva. Till he gets jnanam, he is stuck in the cycle of punarjanma and punarmrityu. So the first lesson is to accept birth and death as an intrinsic part of life. If this fact is accepted, there is going to be no resistance for death, because resistance alone is sorrow. So we may say that, yeah, I know that, but most of the time people you see around, especially the old people, how much resistance there is for death, how much resistance there is for jara, for diseases, because the death will happen with some diseases, So jara and mrityu, there's a lot of resistance, Most of the time this is not accepted. So Bhagavan says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat aparihararthe. For this unalterable situation, that is birth after death and death for the one who is going to be born, cannot be changed. This word apariharaha arthaha is a very, very important word. It means it is a choiceless, remedy-less situation which we will never be able to change with all our effort, with all our will, with knowledge, even with God's grace. That situation is not going to change. That is apariharaha arthaha. Like death, we can't change it, So, everything is not choiceless, but many things are choiceless in our life, And this Bhagavad Gita, the first thing it teaches is to accept a choiceless situation. This is a very important teaching of Bhagavad Gita, that you have to be able to accept it. And acceptance is with understanding. It's not with murmuring, grumbling, crying, making everybody unhappy, miserable all around you. With maturity we have to accept. Without complaints we have to accept. Without irritation, without getting angry on this whole world. Some people who are not able to accept a choiceless situation, they are annoyed with everyone, including God. You see them, they're angry. Sometimes, on the road you drive and there is a little problem with the way that person looks at you, that dirty look they give, he's angry from inside. There's a problem inside that person. He's not a happy, relaxed person. So any button you push, then that anger comes out, So the people who have actually in life, they are not able to accept many things, and there's trouble happening in their life, perpetually they are angry inside. Just a small situation has to crop up for them to release that anger of theirs, Then there are some people who say that I want to accept, but I am not able to accept. A very honest, genuine problem. Many people trying to accept, but they're not able to accept, Then the only thing which one can tell them is, then you have to prepare yourself to accept, because the only one intelligent thing to do is to accept a choiceless situation. There is nothing else one can do. So you contemplate on this, that this is a fact, you meditate on this, you take help from Bhagavan with this bhakti and devotion, that it's a difficult situation in life. One must have trust and faith in God. People who have trust and faith in God are able to do all this easily. The ones who don't have trust and faith in God, they are missing out a lot. They're creating trouble for themselves, But for everything in our lives we say, okay, God is there, He will see us through, So with this trust and faith in God, with wisdom, with assimilation of knowledge, we have to prepare the mind, strengthen the mind to accept a choiceless situation. So our life is lived forwards, but it's understood backwards, Whatever's happened has to be teaching us a lot of lessons. This is a university of life, you know. So when we look back at our life and analyze our life, we see that many situations in our life were choiceless. What choice did we have there? Very less choice. More of it was choiceless, you know. So if we see our past, the mistakes which we made in the past, we cannot correct them. A choiceless situation. Our parentage, we did not choose our parents. Choiceless situation. The environment which we were brought up in, choiceless situation. Our siblings and relatives, choiceless situations. That is why most of the people go, my husband, my karma, my wife, my karma, my mother-in-law, my karma, my children, my karma, this is my karma. All choiceless. All you can do is bang your head, can't do anything else. Everything here seems to be choices, all sitting on your head, and you're suffering miserably. Then so past is all choiceless. Most of it is choiceless. The present, it is already present. It has already arrived. What choice do I have? It is a present from God for my karmas. It is present. No choice there. Present has arrived. And the future, again there is less of choice and more of choiceless situations. That we are going to grow old only is a choiceless situations. We may like to believe that we are growing younger every day, but no, we are growing old every day, you know. So this has to, it's a choiceless situation. Aparihara arte. Less choice, more choiceless situations. And one who is accepting this choiceless situation is very comfortable with himself. He's accepted the situation. Bhagwan has given us a free will to the human beings so that we can change our fate in future. But that depends how I'm going to use my free will. Depends on the karmas which I'm going to do using my free will. Like we go to a doctor and we ask him, can you cure my disease? So what is the doctor going to say? Depends on the disease. And some disease, sorry, can't do anything. You have 6 months left, 1 year left. Choiceless situation. Or he'll say, yeah, this disease cannot be cured, but it can be managed. You have BP, you have sugar. Now you live your life throughout managing this disease. Situation is choiceless. Or if he says, okay, I can cure it, but I need about 6 months time. So I have to go through that 6 months enduring that trouble. Situation is choiceless. So most of the situations we have are choiceless, you know. So Bhagwan is saying this birth after death and death for the one who is born is a aparihara arte. So in life, wherever there is a choice, we must act, and wherever there is no choice, we have to accept. And life is a series of action and acceptance. So Arjuna, in this situation he was in, he is supposed to act and fight this dharma yuddha and restore dharma in the society, and he is supposed to accept the fact that his relatives and his people have to go because they are standing on the side of adharma. And really they are not going because they are going to come back in another form. So what is going is the body which is going. So this has to be aparihara arte, get ready to accept some facts. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. So avyakta, unmanifest, adini, in the beginning, bhutani means the living beings, vyakta, manifest, madhyani, in between, bharata means Arjuna, avyakta, unmanifest, Nidhananyeva. Nidhanani eva. Nidhan coming from the word death. So at the time of death, everybody becomes avyakta again. Tatra, for them. Ka, what is the use of? Paridevana, grieving. What is the use of grieving is what Bhagavan is saying. So in this shloka, Bhagavan is explaining the phenomenon of birth and death. Because if we understand birth and death properly, then their capacity to hurt us is going to be reduced significantly. Because ignorance has a capacity to create a lot of projections, That is why it is said ignorance is like a dark room where negatives are developed. So when there is darkness of ignorance in my mind, whole lot of negatives like raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, madha, moha, matsarya, all of those negativities are developed only because of ignorance. We don't know some things over here. So once we understand the phenomenon of birth and death, especially for death, this fear is going to get greatly reduced. Now in this world, the surprising thing is, which we may not think about, actually there is nothing getting destroyed and nothing get created. Nothing is getting created. This is a magical world. And we all are in the grip of the Shakti of Maya. Even science says that. As per the law of conservation of matter and energy, there is nothing created and nothing destroyed. It is only changing forms. Matter is changing into energy, energy is changing into matter. The food that we eat is matter. That inside our body, it goes and gets converted into energy. And then my body uses that energy, and the extra energy converts into fat, into matter again, into fat, glycogen, etc., and gets stored in my body. So this conversion is happening all the time. Bhagavan also cannot create 1 milligram of matter also. So Bhagavan is omnipotent, who can do everything that is possible. Creation of matter is impossible. So then what is Janma and what is Maranam? Birth and death are just changing of one form into another. It is one phenomenon. From one angle it's called birth, and from another angle it's called death. Just like when tomorrow is born, it is death of today. When steam is formed, it is death of water and it is birth of steam. So everything is only changing forms from one form to the other. Before birth, it is unmanifest. At birth, it becomes manifest. And at death, it becomes unmanifest again. So this is what is going on over here. So Bhagavan says, Avyakta Dini Bhutani. Adini, in the beginning, everyone is only Avyakta. The Bhutanis, the living beings, are only Avyakta. They are present in potential form as subtle energy. That energy in Vedanta is known as Prakriti, Maya, Shakti. Prakriti is the most rudimentary form of energy. And from that energy, all the different energies manifest over here. So from that unmanifest Prakriti, then this Prakriti manifests as living bodies. Vyakta Madhyani. Madhyani is the period between birth and death, which is called life. And this period varies for different Bhutanis. From few days of a butterfly, beautiful butterfly lasting only for a few days, to that 70, 80, 90 years of a human being. He may be able to break a record and reach 150, but there's going to be an end. To 300 years of a tortoise, this is what? Vyakta Madhyani. This is what is called life. The person becomes Vyakta for a little while. And when the life ends, he becomes at Nidhanani, it becomes Avyakta again. So this conversion from unmanifest to manifest is Janma, from manifest to unmanifest is Maranam. And these two words, manifest and unmanifest, refer to the same matter because they are becoming Vyakta and Avyakta. Matter is the same. In the beginning, Adini Avyakta, Madhyani Vyakta, Nidhanani Avyakta. This is actually magic happening over here, you know. And if one is not able to see this and doesn't find this creation awesome and doesn't enjoy this flicker of life which one has got for a short period of time and is hung up on my husband and my wife and my children and my car and my house, it's the loss of that person. There's something very big is missing out over here. Just see how people are appearing and disappearing. Each person is so unique. There's no repetition here in this creation. Each person has unique fingerprints, unique retina, unique voice. What a beautiful world, you know. So instead of enjoying this, if a person is just existing over here, you know, living a mechanical routine and then biding time and go away, not achieving any goals here, what is the use of this life? This is a magical life which one has got for a little while, you know. So what was I before being born? I don't know. What will happen to us after death? I don't know. So between these two unknowns, there is a short existence of known called life. Tatra ka paridevana. What is there to sit and grieve about? No one. Grief is only because of ignorance. And once a person understands the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, why would that person grieve? If this is understood, there is no question of grief. The grief is going to vanish. You have to not grieve for anyone or anything here. Live this life well, to the fullest. Enjoy every day as it comes. Respond to all the situations with wisdom. Don't go around reacting over here. The moment we wake up, we hear those beautiful birds chirping, you know. And if you cannot hear it, it's really your loss, you know. A big thing you're losing. If your mind is all filled with trouble, you wake up and you're not hearing that beautiful, they're singing for us, you know. See the beautiful sunrise, the lovely colors of sunset, the night sky with shimmering stars and shining moon, the deep satisfaction one has to experience of fulfilling one's duties over here, service, living for others, and of course fulfilling your short-term goals, long-term goals, and the ultimate goal for which you have come here as a human being. Nothing deserves our grief here. No one, not I, this, my, that. Forget all this I and mine, you know. Actually, in life, we are supposed to have only 6 relatives. It is said, Satyam Mata, Pita Jnanam, Dharmo Bhrata, Daya Sakha, Shanti Patni, Kshama Putraha, Shad Ete Mama Bandhava. My 6 relatives are Satyam Mata, a truthful life. Pita Jnanam, this life is meant for knowledge. Every day is a waste if you've not got some knowledge here. And these 2 kinds of knowledges, which we've seen, Dve Vidye Veditavye, Paracha Aparacha. 2 kinds of knowledges one has to get in life. Worldly knowledge and self-knowledge. Otherwise your life is a total waste, you know. So knowledge is like Pita, Dharmo Bhrata. My brother should be a dharmic life full of values, righteous living, you know. That should be my brother. Daya Sakha, having compassion for everyone around, should be my friend. Shanti Patni, the peace of mind, should be the wife. Actually, Sita ji represents that peace of mind, which Bhagwan Ram lost when she was taken away, and he got it back when she came back. And Kshama Putraha, forgiving everyone. Having a large-hearted, forgiving mind and heart, Forgive yourself also for all the wrongs which you did unknowingly, So if you live, these are Shad Ete Mama Bandhava. These should be my 6 relatives. This is the way to live your life properly, not being hung up on this and that and my this and my that, and the thing's going to go away in any case after some time, and then you sit and grieve. See, throughout Bhagavan has been telling us, Shojutum narhasi, don't grieve is the lesson of Bhagavad Gita. So if we understand this, we are understanding Bhagavad Gita. This is the way, dharma is the rule here. This is the way we should live our life well. We'll see it next time. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.